Like, although both of them are earth signs, both of them were earth signs, and I'm a water sign. So baby daddy number 1, Virgo. Baby daddy number 2, Capricorn, right? All right, guys, so we done had a little snack break, and somebody's still trying to slide through, and I'm just like, sir, chill out, because I said I'm fasting. He said from food. I said, yes, I'm fasting from meat. I just want to come talk. No, you don't. So in this story time, we're gonna go ahead and talk about my 3 pregnancies, or there's really 4, but I only have 3 kids. So we're gonna go ahead and do a story time on that. You know, my three pregnancies of where I've carried children to life 3 times. 3 times I've carried 3 souls within my stomach, right? Within my inner being, right? I carried 3 humans into this world, right? Pregnancy number 1 was my first pregnancy, obviously. I was 13 when I got pregnant the first time, and I had my firstborn son when I was 14. Now, as far as my pregnancy goes for the first time, I don't really recall there being like a lot of complications when it came to me carrying this baby physically. Now, mentally and emotionally and spiritually, I was, you know, dealing with stuff that was difficult, right? But as far as like actually carrying my firstborn into this world, it wasn't really a physical challenge for me. He was a 8-pound baby, 8 pounds, right? So carried him past full term, past the day he was supposed to be born on Christmas, but he ended up coming some days after, right? So first pregnancy wasn't too bad, apart from the fact that I was having him at an early age. Some people are in their late 30s, early 40s, still feeling like they're not ready to be a mom. Here I am at 14, a fresh 14 at that, because he was born in December, my birthday's in November, so I had just turned 14, and here I am having my firstborn, right? My first child. So pregnancy was easy. As far as like my baby daddy with my pregnancy, like I gotta get into some more story times about him, because he was a character. I'm like, he was a whole entire character. So as far as like my pregnancy goes, I feel like he was there as much as he could be. He was really attentive to me and my needs, and making sure that I was okay during my pregnancy. Like, he was involved like with wanting to, like, you know what I'm saying, like touch my belly and kiss my belly, rub my belly, you know what I'm saying, talk to his child while his child was inside of me. He was like, of course, you know, there was a lot of sex, you know. I already gave this man my virginity, his first child, and unlimited coochie while I'm pregnant with his first child. Yeah, he tried, right? He tried. He had a lot of support from his mom and from his sister, in which I had a lot of support from my mom as well. Once, you know, my child was born, and you know, even before my child was born, my mom would go all in cooking for me. I done told y'all, my mom, she cooked multiple meals per day. So she would go in like cooking me breakfast before I went to school, making sure, you know, that I had a good lunch, a good dinner. Like, she would go all out. I remember she would make me like 3 pancakes, the Aunt Jemima pancake mix. Like, can't nobody fuck with my mama pancakes. I don't care what nobody say. Can't nobody fuck with her pancakes, right? Not She used to have the motherfucking edges so fucking crispy, and the print on the pancake was so fucking pretty. Like a little spider web or something. It was just so pretty, right? Pancakes lit, right? So she used to make me the pancakes with the bacon, with the eggs, with the orange juice, with the milk, and the water, and the 5 prenatal pills. But no, my mom, she used to make sure, like, while I was pregnant, baby, if nothing else, I was eating good. If nothing else was going on right, I was at least eating good. So yeah, I do remember my mom doing that, and I remember one of my favorite things to get was motherfucking chicken nuggets. A 10-piece chicken nugget meal with a goddamn vanilla or motherfucking strawberry milkshake from McDonald's. That was my shit when I was pregnant with my firstborn. Absolutely. And I remember one time, my next door neighbor, she had bought me some lobster from motherfucking Red Lobster for the first time. And when I tell you, baby, I said, okay, I like this seafood. I like this seafood. But yeah, I was kind of low-key spoiled my first pregnancy. Like, I really was. I was spoiled. I mean, I did have to go to school, so that was awkward. Leaving 6th grade, going into the 7th grade, pregnant. I remember it was so awkward trying to sit in them desks that had discs attached to the chair, right? So you know it was on this little small space that they had made for the little small white children. So here I was in my last trimester trying to squeeze into the little ass desk. And then, you know, they started making like accommodations or whatever to where they would have the single desk and you would have just like a chair that you could pull out, right? Until, you know, up until the last minute, I went to like the little pregnancy school for the little fast girls that needed to go to the pregnancy school, right? So yeah, my oldest son, very much into music. Very much like this naturally musically gifted, right? Just naturally and musically gifted, right? And it's probably because me and his daddy used to do it to R. Kelly. Me and his daddy used to do it to the R. Kelly Chocolate Factory. So now we used to, you know, fucking the music, like, that's just been my thing. It's my thing. But yeah, me and his dad, we did, you know what I'm saying, consummate to a lot of music. He's a musical genius, like naturally, low key, and I'm hoping, you know, that he really pursues his natural given talents and uses them to the best of his abilities, right? So pregnancy number 1, I remember like my baby daddy would do like bubble baths, and he was just like, he was kind of a romantic, right? He was giving a bit romantic when it came to like trying to set the mood. Romantic, not just like, oh, we just fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, we just fucking, I'm just here to put my meat inside of your meat and pound it. You know what I'm saying? It gave more than that. It had some substance, right? And I remember being in school, and it was like my friends, they were so young, so it was like they knew what I was going through, but they couldn't really comprehend what I was going through. Because I remember like sometimes we'd be in PE, and after PE it would be lunchtime, right? So from the gym, which was like, you know, a little bit far from the school, and the cafeteria, right? So my friends, they would hear the bell, they run into the cafeteria to be kind of like the first ones in line. Here I am with this belly, like, I probably could have ran, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, he was 8 pounds. He was an 8-pounder, and I was in motherfucking 7th grade. I probably could have ran, right? Body probably was strong enough to run the race, but I didn't. I walked relatively fast, and that was good enough. My friends got there before me, and then I showed up when I showed up, right? They saved me a little seat at the table in the cafeteria in junior high. They saved me a little seat, eat my lunch, and then go to the next class, go home, and, you know, repeat it over and over until eventually my son is here. So I did try breastfeeding with my firstborn, and it was not successful. I could not get him to latch on, and it was like I got engorged, and it was very painful. And I was like, no, please make him a bottle. My baby daddy was trying to help me not be engorged, so he sucked all of the milk out of my titties, and he was spitting it into a cup. Right, he was trying to help the engorgement go down because the titties was hurting. That engorgement ain't no joke. When your titties be engorged, that shit hurts so much. Now, I did have 3 C-sections, so I don't know what it's like to push out a baby, but if it was anything relatively close to engorgement and that nipple pain that you get when your nipples is raw, baby, if it's anything close to that, thank you, God, for looking out for your girl, because I know I probably would have had to get an epidural. I would have had to probably get an epidural because, like, I don't know. So with me having him, I had C-sections with all my kids, right? So I went into labor with him. Or no, actually, I've never been into labor. I've never gone into labor actively, just naturally. So first time with him, we go in for our appointment, which is on the day, I believe that the day before he was due or something like that. So we go into the appointment, and the doctor's like, yeah, you know, hopefully he'll be here, you know, tomorrow. It's the due date. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can't really get the dates 100% exact, right? So we go in a few days before Christmas. Doctor's like, you should be expecting him anytime. I'm like, okay. So we go home. It's, you know, some days roll by. Then finally we go to the doctor again, and they decide to induce my labor. So when they induce my labor, they give me the oxytocin and things like that. And I'm just laying there. The chart is reading that she is indeed contracting, but she is indeed not really feeling anything. So, you know, we keep increasing the Pitocin as much as we could. And then eventually we ended up having a C-section because my body just never like really fully kicked into labor, and I only, you know, dilated so much, which, you know, was not obviously enough to push out no baby. So they was like, we're just gonna go ahead and give you a C-section. They gave him a C-section, and I said they gave us a C-section, right? So they cut that baby, my baby, out of my stomach, right? They pull my stomach up. They cut a line, and they pull my stomach up and pull my baby out in the most unnatural way. But my body wasn't going into labor. Like I feel like my body was like, no ma'am, we're not finna push this 8-pound. I don't know what my body was saying, but it never just went into labor. So C-section with my firstborn, that was really hard. My baby daddy was there to like wipe my ass, you know what I'm saying? Make sure I was okay. My mama was letting him come over to the house and stay more once the baby was there. So he tried. He really did try. As far as, you know, when it comes to him like being a dad or whatever. So that was nice. And yeah. Pregnancy number 2. So pregnancy number 2 would be with my daughter, and I am married for the second time, daughter number 2. We are about 2-3 years into our marriage, and here she comes. Pregnancy number 2 was somewhat planned. So with my daughter, yeah, I conceived her after marrying her dad. So her dad, I feel like he Kevin Featherlined me with the last 2 children. You know, I got Kevin Featherlined, how Brittany got Kevin Featherlined, but here I am, well and capable, right? So met him, we got married mainly because, you know, we was on some shit we shouldn't have been on, period. Shouldn't have been on. And we're talking about like children. And he wants to, like, one thing that he said to me that was like really weird, and I believe this was like before we even got married. He was like, what do I need to do, have a baby with you, in order to show you that I'm like here for you, or not trying to just like, I don't know, leave you or something like that. I don't know, it was weird. I ain't never heard nobody say like, I'll have a baby with you to prove that I want to stay type thing. And I was just like, that is weird, but it wasn't, you know what I'm saying, weird enough to like, you know what I'm saying, say, go the other way, Tamaria. It wasn't that weird to be like, go the other way, Tamaria. You know, it was still like, you know, there's something interesting about this one, right? So we get into this whole thing, right, where, you know, we are having sex and I'm not getting pregnant, right? So this is like, you know, after we're married, he starts questioning like whether or not like I'm on birth control, or whether or not like I can even have kids, you know what I'm saying? Just questioning if, you know, everything in there is working the way that it should be working, right? We start going to like appointments, doing ultrasounds, and, you know, make sure my coochie is good. And apparently it was good, right? Ended up with a beautiful daughter and a son. So yeah, so we would have this whole little thing, because he was like, for me, I was like, I wasn't really ready to have no kid, because I had, you know, of course I already had a son, right, who at this point is in his teens, almost about to be grown, right? Already got a kid, and it's like we just got married, right? And I'm thinking to myself, like, I just want to get to know you know what I'm saying, you as a person, just chill with you, see what, you know, life could be about with you, and not really necessarily any kids, right? But you know, 3 years in, we have our little arguments and our moments about whether or not I can conceive, whether or not he can conceive, and then we end up with my daughter. But before my daughter, I actually had a false pregnancy, and with that false pregnancy, it was like I had mentally convinced myself that I was pregnant, and I started having all of these pregnancy symptoms and started looking like I was pregnant, because of, it's a whole term, it's a whole scientific thing, right? I'll try to find the name of it and put it on the screen. So I didn't convince myself that I'm pregnant for this man, because he been out here saying that, oh, I can't get pregnant, and my coochie is dried up type stuff. And, you know, just I'm being selfish because I don't want to have no kid with him, because I already got a kid. And, you know, it was a whole thing. And it was like, why did I find myself trying to prove to him that I could have a kid? So here comes my daughter. She was playing, but she kind of like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't the best plan, right? It's not the best plan that anybody could have come up with in order to produce and create a child. So here she comes, being her beautiful self. All right, so here comes my daughter, right? My first and only daughter, right? So pregnancy with her was, once again, it was a like second time go around, like these big babies. She was also an 8-pounder. I'm only 5'4". So when I was pregnant, my weight was just like, it was going up there. You know what I'm saying? It was going up there with these big babies. So pregnancy number 2, I'm like, I want to say I'm in my early, okay, so she's 8 right now and I'm 36. So I was in my late 20s when I had her, when I conceived her. So, you know, still relatively young. I had been in a gym, you know what I'm saying? I've been in, out the gym, off and on, you know what I'm saying? So pregnancy with her physically, it was a bit more difficult than it was with my firstborn. Like when it came to like my hips and my knees and my back and my lungs, baby. Carrying them big kids, baby. When it came to that, it was, you know, it was a bit more intense on my body compared to what it was the first time. I can remember we lived upstairs, and I remember one particular moment where I had walked home from work and then had to walk up them stairs. Baby, when I tell you, I felt like I was out of breath and I was gonna pass out, baby. Had walked from, it wasn't like 15 miles like how the old people used to say back in the day, but it was like quite a distance, right? And so I just remember getting out to the house and just feeling like it was just hard for me to breathe. And I was like, oh, baby, you know what I'm saying? I'm glad that, you know, I'm okay, basically. I'm glad I'm okay, because that, you know, it just didn't feel good to be like, it was like carrying like a weight on my lungs or some shit like that. So as far as, so me and baby daddy was never married. We was just together like on some young shit, right? Some young love type shit, right? That's baby daddy number 1. This is husband number 2, right? For me, by the time I'm having my second child. Baby daddy was, like I said, way more like romantic and in tune with me and the pregnancy. It was like, even though he was going to be like a young father, because he was only 17 when I got pregnant and then 18 once I had the baby. So he was a relatively young father, and it was like he almost, in a sense, you know, you could kind of see like his happiness about it. Now with my ex, he was happy, but it wasn't like he was happy because he wanted to, you know what I'm saying, like really connect with me while I was pregnant with his child. It was just like he was just happy that he was gonna have like a visual of something that represents, you know, him. What it felt like for me observing his reactions and my experience with him, right? So for me, it just felt like when I look at how he was able to like celebrate the fact that he was bringing in a child into this world with his new wife, it was just more on a note of him just like wanting to tell his friends and like, of course, his family. But it was like throughout my whole entire pregnancy with him, like I don't feel like we were able to connect in a way where, you know what I'm saying, like you would feel like if you you know, you're having a baby with someone, that there would be like an emotional bond that's created through the experience of pregnancy and bringing that child into the world. And I mean, granted, okay, maybe he was so excited to where he wanted to share it with his friends more than he did with me, right? I'm not saying that he's not excited about his children. I'm just saying, like, for me, in my assumption and expectation of what I thought it would be like to have a baby with this man would be based upon the fact that I thought we would have like this emotional, like spiritual, like loving type of bond, right? Like, I just thought that we would, you know what I'm saying, like connect on a better level, basically. I thought we would connect on a more better level than what we did. And I feel like while I was in my pregnancy. Hey, baby.
Hey, Mom.
You still awake?
Yeah.
You need to go to bed. Go lay down.
Okay.
Close the door, okay? Okay, so yeah, pregnancy number 2. I just didn't feel like my partner was committed, right? Not to me and to, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I can say this about my baby daddy. Like, even though he did show me like a lot more affection and did like more acts of service towards me when I was going through my pregnancy, there wasn't like this sense of like conversation about what was going to happen to us as a family as we're bringing this child into, you know, the world, right? There wasn't too much conversation about that. So, you know, my baby daddy, like, we was together for 4 years. We never talked about getting married, none of that. I mean, we did live together, but as far as like talking about our future and things that we wanted to do and goals that we had as a couple, like, it wasn't it wasn't none of that, right? So it was just like we just fell into a role of being baby daddy, baby mama, and we go together, right? It was just the role. So with my husband, like, I don't know, I just kind of thought it would give way much more. My husband he was like the complete opposite. Like, although both of them are earth signs, both of them were earth signs, and I'm a water sign. So baby daddy number 1, Virgo, baby daddy number 2, Capricorn, right? Cap was very non-emotionally attached to me. Like, he was interested in some ways. Like, I can't remember us just sitting and having conversations about like what we thought would, you know, happen when she got here. And when it came to like picking out her name, because he did pick out her name and it's a really cute name, and you know, he did put in some efforts with that part of it, right? Picking out a name and stuff like that. Yeah. So pregnancy number 2, of course, I'm already, you know, I done made it through junior high where I got pregnant with the first one, all the way up into goddamn, you know, getting my CNA, right? Got my CNA license after graduating high school, right? And, you know, graduated high school, right? So with my second husband, by the time I'm pregnant with my daughter, I'm working on my bachelor's, right? So pregnant with her, working on my bachelor's, working an overnight shift at this this like living assistant type job, right? So doing that, going to work, going to school, being a wife, preparing to be a mom. And I remember when I would get off work, because like I said, I worked the night shift. So I would go in, I had to be there at, I believe, like 9. So I would catch the bus to go to work, right? I would catch the bus to go to work, to get to my shift. Probably like, I would probably get there like an hour or two early, because, you know, I was catching the bus, right, to get to work when I was pregnant with my daughter, right? So get to work my shift, right? Do what I gotta do on my shift, right? And then I go home on the bus again, right? So at the transfer station, there was like this little pregnancy resource center, and on certain days I would stop by there so that I can get like you know, like points for like taking classes, for learning about what it's going to be a mother and to breastfeed and your child's development and stuff like that. And you can use the points to get you know, stuff for your kid, right? I worked pretty much throughout my entire pregnancy, right up until it was time for me to go ahead and get C-section number 2. All right, so C-section is scheduled. So I did have the opportunity to go ahead and do a vaginal delivery with my daughter. I had the opportunity, but it was like the town that we were living in, and the doctor that could see me was like, you know what I'm saying, like 3 hours away. And I just felt like making that that trip and having to travel just for a vaginal delivery, I just felt like it wasn't worth it, and I would just go ahead and do a C-section again. So C-section scheduled. I work all the way up until, you know, pretty much my last few weeks in my last trimester before, you know, the scheduling of the C-section. So at this point of my daughter, you know, being born, like, I pretty much did the best that I could when it came to like me wanting to like learn about breastfeeding, because I breastfed her for, I want to say 3 years. She got a good 3 years of the breast milks. So yeah, I remember when I had my daughter, we was living in like this 1-bedroom apartment. It was hella cheap. Like, it was so freaking cheap. I think rent was like, this was like in the early, no, this is 2015. Where I come from, where we was staying at, the rent was like $400, right? Rent was cheap in 2015 and 14, baby, because we was staying in a little 1-bedroom for about $400. I mean, it was in the hood, right? Like the hood for where we was at. It's not like everybody's hood, but it was a hood. People that got shot in the hood over there. So yeah, we in this little small apartment, and we got our daughter who's coming, and you know, he got his little thing going on, I got my little thing going on, and you know, we pretty much try our best with what we have, you know, the resources we have. We try to bring this little girl into the world. It's pretty much pregnancy number 2. Like, I didn't have any like connection emotionally, or like I didn't feel like a bond with my husband while I was pregnant with our daughter. I'm just sitting here looking like, or thinking about how I was looking, because I do remember seeing, like, I think there's like a snap memory or something when we were like out to eat at this African restaurant, and my face was just like filled with pregnancy fluids. It was, my face was just big and swollen. And I was just like, you know, Tamaria, nobody forced you to sign up for this. Nobody forced you to sign up for this, Tamaria. You chose this on your own. So Tamaria, when you're done, you gotta this damn fruit fly. So yeah, I chose the life. My decisions have led me to where I'm at, right? My decisions and my choices have led me to exactly where I'm at, and they will continue to lead and guide me. But yeah, pregnancy number 2, it was okay. So my daughter's finally born. I done went to all of these breastfeeding classes, and I'm finally breastfeeding her. It was rough in the first, I want to say almost month. That first month, baby, it was rough. I must have been stressed out during my pregnancy, because my daughter was born with like a patch. She was born with like a patch of gray hairs in her head. So it's given that mama was probably like, I don't know, stressed out, or, you know, just like genetically, I don't know, maybe she's been here before or something. I don't know. The gray hairs symbolize wisdom to me, wisdom and or stress. Yeah, so she's here, we're breastfeeding, we're trying to go on this journey as being parents, being married and young as parents. And it just doesn't, you know what I'm saying, it doesn't go well, right? And I feel like experiencing like pregnancy and parenthood with him in the time that I did, I just feel like it just adds to like a negative taste in my emotions towards our relationship. Like the fact that, you know, I mean, it is what it is. I can't change anything that has happened, but it's just like you would always want to get like the best version of the person that you are, you know, building with. I mean, I get it. We all come with our flaws. That was it for pregnancy number 2. And then pregnancy number 3 was very much unexpected. So first one, accident. Second one, planned, but with the wrong type of intents, right? Third one, I was literally on my way out the door. Like I was on my way out the door, and then like a week later, I found out I was with a child, and I did think about aborting. I was like, I gotta put me first. I gotta put me first. Because I had already had a plan. because I had a good job. I had been looking at places, and I was like, with just me and my daughter, this is no problem. But then when I got hit with the, you got another one on the way, it was very intense. And here's the thing, like seriously, one weekend I am just as lit as I am now. And this one weekend where I tell him, I was like, yo, look, I don't think this is gonna work. And yeah, I'm probably gonna get my shit and I'm about to go. And yeah, thank you for everything. Look at us, right? So tell him that, right? I get that shit up off my chest and I tell him how I feel. And then a week later, a week later, I'm having another liter, but it's a 1 liter, you know what I'm saying? It's 3 1 liters that I done had, right? So I was like really contemplating getting an abortion. And what's funny is like for all 3 of my pregnancies, for both of my sons, is where I did think about getting an abortion, right? However, in the periods, in the stages that I was thinking about getting the abortion, I didn't even know they were going to be males, but I just thought, like, you know, according to the situations that I was in, that abortion would be a good idea, right? Because first one, I'm only 13, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, an abortion at 13 does seem right. And I just be like, I wonder why my mom didn't let me do that. I feel like maybe she didn't have the money for it, right? So she was like, you laid down there and you did it, so you gotta do it. You gotta be a mom, because I don't have the $300 to give you for an abortion. So I had to take my consequences as a grown-ass woman. Y'all see how tan I am? It's like brown, yellow. But anyway, I had to take my consequences for the actions I chose to indulge in, which, you know, first one, yeah, I considered abortion. And then the last one, I considered abortion because of the fact that I was ready to go. I was ready to go, right? And I had looked at my life and my pattern in which, you know, I had given birth. And of course, it's like a fantasy to have a pregnancy and a life with a man, you know, that really just loves you and cares for you, and you're his everything and he's your everything, and y'all just bring this child into the world, and it's so great. But here's the thing, like, a child can be like an actual physical human, or a child could be like a business, or a child could be like a commitment, or a child could be like, you know, partnership in a different area. Like a child, something that me and a person could have together that is as significant as a child, I do feel like it's a possibility, you know what I'm saying? So, first one, last one, both boys, I did consider abortion. And like I said, it was before I even knew that they were gonna be boys. It was just something that inside of me was like, you know, like, you're not ready, you know, you're not ready for this. But with my daughter, I don't know, it was different. Like, I didn't have that same feeling. So last pregnancy, I'm about to leave. A week later, I find out I'm pregnant. by this time, physically, my body is just like disgusted, right? It's like another one with this nigga. Another one with this nigga. Like, my body was like, no ma'am. So, as I had mentioned, I had like just literally got a job, like a really good, decent job where I was like, I'm finna go. Right? So, find out I'm pregnant, and I'm like, I feel like I could do it with one baby, just me and one baby, but I don't know about me and two babies, you know what I'm saying? Me and two babies, I don't know. That's gonna take a lot of God to make that come into fruition. It's gonna take a lot of God, because what I'm gonna do, like if I'm like somewhat unsure about me and one baby, what I'm gonna do with me and two babies, right? So I was just like, I want to have an abortion, but then I don't really believe in abortions, and I don't really believe in really abortions at that point in time, because I wasn't really hip to anything like Plan B. I mean, I knew it was there, but it wasn't just like something that was on the top of my mind to consider, right? So yeah, here I am finding out I'm pregnant after I just told the man that I'm married to that I'm finna dip. And then my pregnancy, I'm just like feeling the morning sickness and the fatigueness a lot in my first trimester, and I don't want to go to work, so I end up staying at home, right? Where I'm at home, right? Pregnant, right? So pregnancy goes on, being at home, like being at home pregnant and being at home as a stay-at-home mom. Like, see, here's the thing, I feel like I'm a stay-at-home mom now, but ain't no nigga in the house. I'm a stay-at-home mom now because I be in the house all the time. I stay in the house, but just there's just not no daddy, no father, no nigga here. It's just me and the kids. I'm a stay-at-home mom, right? But when I was a stay-at-home mom with a nigga, a man, a husband in the house, it felt completely different. Like, just caring and noticing and trying to interpret and trying to take in like what he brought energetically could be a lot. Like, he wasn't the worst person in the world, but I just feel like our compatibility and like the things that we could have been doing, we weren't. Not only that, but just the fact that, you know, with these pregnancies, like, I just feel like my boy wasn't there for me. And then a part of me feels like he just didn't know how to be there for me because of the culture that he comes from. I'm pretty sure I have some qualities that were missing in his list of things that he wants in a woman or whatever. But yeah, those were pretty much my pregnancies. It wasn't giving no fantasy, it wasn't giving no fairy tale, it wasn't giving no Instagram photo shoot, it wasn't giving no, yes honey, I'm living for this pregnancy, I'm living for it. It wasn't giving any of that. But that's pretty much it for my story time. Leave a comment down below. Tell me what you thought, or share your own pregnancy stories with me. be it you was the one that was pregnant or you was the one with somebody that was pregnant with your child. Let me know how you experienced, you know, bringing in a child into this world for the first time, second time, third time, however many times you want to, you know, go ahead and express down in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.